Birdman and the Essence of Cinema. Last semester, while in film school, a very good professor suggested that the only question in cinema is when to cut. Since then, I have been giving a lot of thought to what is the true essence of cinema. In other words, what is the difference between the mere mechanical process of recording something and film as art? Eisenstein would agree with my professor and would probably be smiling to hear that some 70 years after his death, his writings and theories on editing, montage, and cinema are still at the heart of the cinematic debate. And while there is no question that the cut, or editing, is a major component in cinema, I found myself asking, can cinema exist without editing? In the very nascent days of cinema, camera movements were very limited. When looking at the earliest films ever made, the Lumiere films, we can see this. The camera moves, but usually in such a way that is affixed to something that is moving, i.e. phantom rides or filming from, say, a train, rather than moving itself. There is a legitimate debate as to whether the earliest Lumiere films are cinema, so to speak. And in the past I have felt very strongly that the earliest Lumiere films did constitute cinema. But now I am not so sure anymore. So, if the early Lumiere films do not constitute cinema, where might one find examples of cinema without editing? The 100-year anniversary of Lumiere films, particularly that of David Lynch and Abbas Kiarostami, which were made under similar guidelines as the original Lumiere films, to me prove very clearly that cinema can exist without editing. While cinema can exist without editing, it must have either movement or sound or both if it does not have editing. In the case of the Lynch film, he uses both movement and sound to create an uncanny experience. In the case of the Kiarostami film, although there is no camera movement, without the sound off-screen, his film would not be the same, or perhaps a film at all. Inarritu's Birdman, 2014, begs this question on the scale of a feature film. It is one thing to make a 50-second film with no edits. It is another to make a feature-length film with the illusion of no edits. No visible cuts, as we know editing of course occurs. While Inarritu is not doing anything new, so to speak, as we see a similar technique in Hitchcock's Rope as early as 1948, it challenges the relationship between editing and cinema. Although there is no visible or perceived editing, as filmmakers we know Inarritu is using tricks to mask what are cuts. So editing is occurring in a very different way than, say, Lynch's Lumiere film, which literally has no cuts. Both films, however, utilize a different kind of editing than the cut, namely what we might call in-camera editing. The question isn't when to cut per se, but what to show, what order to show it in, and navigating the physical geography of the cinematic field in a meaningful way. With the invention of camera movement and sound, the very essence of cinema changed. And if the only question is when to cut, Birdman proves that the right answer might be not at all.